We were approached by the Renal Interest Group in the Irish Nutrition and Dietetics Institute, wondering could we analyse a suite of foodstuffs for sodium, potassium and phosphorus levels.
We already had a sodium potassium method in place, so we used that to analyse the food and drink samples for sodium and potassium. In the case of phosphorus, we didn't have an established method in place, and therefore we had to fully develop and validate a new method for phosphorus. Validation is very important to ensure that the results that we report are accurate, precise and reliable, so that the information going to the dietitians and then further to the patients is trustworthy. The analytical technique used to analyse for phosphorus was ICP-MS, which stands for Inductively Coupled Plasma Mass Spectroscopy. This is a highly sensitive technique used to determine the elemental composition of these food and drink samples that we received.
This project involved looking at sodium, potassium and phosphorus levels in a variety of foodstuffs, which is of particular interest to the renal dietitians so that they could better inform their renal patients. Monitoring of these minerals are extremely important to the renal patients because these cohort of the population are on extremely restrictive, challenging diets. I feel that we're giving value back to patients and that we're helping them make more informed choices so that they can kind of better tailor their diets to suit their condition.
Sodium levels are widely labelled and are required by legislation to be labelled. However, potassium and phosphorus levels are not so routinely labelled, but yet of extreme importance to this group, and hence our willingness and eagerness to get involved in the project. If a renal patient takes in too much phosphate or sodium or potassium, it requires that they then need to take in larger amounts of liquid in order to excrete that from the body. Their kidneys, if they still have kidneys, are already under pressure. If they're transplant patients, it makes the dialysis far more difficult. So it's important to know and control the levels of these elements. Interestingly, levels of phosphate were a relatively unknown phenomenon. Cream cheese had never been analysed for phosphorus before, and we actually found that there was quite a large percentage of phosphate in cream cheeses, and that has now not been advised as part of the renal diet. Most of our work in the laboratory is done on behalf of the Food Safety Authority of Ireland or the Environmental Health Service. Whilst we are absolutely protecting human health by looking at a variety of foodstuff for a variety of contaminants, this one is very much a direct link to a patient. I very much enjoyed working on this project with my colleagues, primarily, because that's always rewarding, but just for that very simple reason, it's made a difference.